Welcome back to the Bullpen on the Horn Takes podcast. It's the internet show all about Texas baseball. Joining me tonight, as always, in the bullpen, Marc from Occupy Left Field, Zach Sim from OrangeBloods.com. Make sure you follow us on X for all the latest in Texas baseball. Subscribe, get notified for all the latest content on the YouTube channel at Horn Takes. Check out Marc's collection, Left Field collection on Last Stand hats. And you guys can head over to the horntakestore.myshopify.com. See some of the stuff we got over there. All this stuff going back to the Texas One Fund. And then obviously we got these Chinook seeds we've been doing. Guys, I tried the jalapeno ranch ones today. They're pretty damn good, man. I was telling you guys I'm not a big ranch guy, and I'm not, but I can do like the snack flavor of ranch. And man, I'm a fan. If you have not tried the jalapeno ranch seeds from ChinookSeedery.com, you're missing out. You can go try them. Use our promo code HornTakes. Get 10% off of your order at ChinookSeedery.com. All right, Zach. You got to pay the piper. I know you knew this was coming. You're a big man, and I know you'll. But before we get into that, real quick, if you're joining us on the chat, and I know a lot of you guys will join on the chat, throw out your questions. We love to answer questions. We love all the comments you guys drop us. We don't always get them on, but sometimes they help reel us in, get us down the road where we need to go. I literally wrote down on my outline tonight, Aggie series, and the very first bullet was give Zach shit. And Zach is 0 for 3 picking against Texas this year, and that's okay. So honestly, you gotta respect a guy that is a fan of a school, but will stand up and say, you know what, I just feel like X is gonna happen because of these reasons. And I don't think any of Zach's reasons have been wrong so far. They just didn't work out for him. Zach, we'll give you the first word. And the other thing I think too, nobody really gave you a lot of crap about those picks. So I think that just shows how respected you are in the Texas land of baseball and sports and all that good stuff. Nobody messed with you too hard for picking against Texas, even when it was those Aggies. Zach, we'll give you the first word tonight. Talk to us about this series a little bit. What stood out to you?
Man, you just it starts with the pitching up front. You know, Ruger, he stepped up in a way that, you know, you'd seen it on Sundays, you'd seen it throughout the season, but it's a little different when it's a rivalry game. You've got 7,000 plus people in the stands. There's a little extra fuel to the fire just because of the history, because of the coaching situation. But yeah, I mean, Ruger really set the tone, and he held it in there for 6 innings, and you know, every single game was a 1-run game, and that speaks to how fine the margins are. You know, talking to Schlossnagel, I said, look, I don't typically watch SportsCenter, but if I did, I'd probably see about 8 highlights from that Sunday game in the outfield alone. I mean, it was just like one guy's doing a Superman over here, the other guy's, you know, slamming into the fence over here. Guys doing tumbles after making I mean, it was just insane the amount of web gyms that were happening.
Yeah, all three of the A&M outfielders made just absolutely amazing plays during that game on Sunday. And Tommy Farmer had a couple in right field for the Longhorns. We saw A-Rod's big play. Yeah, the outfield play was absolutely, I mean, and even that little ball that kept drifting away from A&M's right fielder towards the foul pole, he ran that thing down. That was a really good play. I was really impressed with that. I was pissed off about it, but I was impressed with it.
Yeah, and Sorrell came in with a hurt hamstring. I mean, it's just super impressive. But then you look at the defense on the infield, you know, the play that Kimball made on that bunt where he was able to throw to third base and get the lead runner, that could have been the ball game right there. I mean, that or sent it to extra innings, right? Like, it's the amount of defensive heads up play this weekend was just incredible. But yeah, Texas pitching, hat tip to Max Wiener. I mean, the guy continues to just be a guru and a magician in what he's gotten out of these guys. And then, you know, the bats, one day it was Tommy Farmer. then it was Ethan Mendoza, then it was A-Rod. I mean, it's a different guy coming up at different times, and it speaks to the mentality, right? Like these guys, they're just not phased. It's insane that they're this good at this point in the season based on what we knew coming into the season. I mean, it's not normal. And in fact, today on this show with Flossnagel, he's even said, he's like, listen, after the game, we sat in the room for like an hour, still dressed out. He goes, we talked about it for like an hour. He goes, this is not normal. So that should tell you something, right? I mean, that tells you, even when the coaches are like, hey, we keep winning. We don't know why or how, but we keep winning. So
yeah, I think 3 teams since 2013, 2014 have started 19-2 in SEC play, something like that.
Since 1996.
Okay, since 1996.
To 30 games. 3 teams have done it now. Vanderbilt in 2013. And then Tennessee in 2022, and now Texas. That Vandy team only lost 3 games in conference. Now they had a rained out game at the very end, so they only played 29 games, but
they only played 2 ranked teams, if I recall correctly, too. Although the teams they played were probably ranked at different times during the season, but at the time they played them, they only played 2 ranked teams.
Yeah, and then Tennessee in 2022, that was just a monster club, and they went 25-5. So yeah,
we're talking Texas A&M. We're talking Zach eating a little crow, not a lot of crow. Well, you got the crow flavored seeds right now. Is that what you're chomping on?
Maybe dill pickle. That's where it's at, baby. Come on now,
dill pickle, man. I feel like getting you those dill pickle seeds has made all the difference in this series. But like shout out to Hardball Harge for making that possible. Marc, the vibe in left field was great. I was out there all 3 days before the game. I came out there after the game on Saturday. Man, I thought it was better than the LSU series. I thought that it was pretty wall to wall. Friday night we had that big storm kind of blow through really quick, tons of rain. Nobody left. Everybody is crammed up underneath tents, just waiting for it to subside so we can get the business of the night going. Talk to us about how that felt. Rank that with some of the you've been out there for 15 years, Marc. How did that go down ranked up against some of the other big time atmospheres out in left field?
I gotta say, I think pretty easily it was probably the biggest regular season weekend in recent memory. I mean, that, you say it a lot when you talk about SEC baseball, but it really was a super regional environment. Just fantastic weather for the most part, other than the beginning of Friday's game. Just quality baseball. The fans were great. Everybody was out there every day, packed house, charged up environment. It was really fun seeing ex-Texas players and famous Texas exes making the trip back to Austin. Obviously Brooks Kieschnick was there for the activities on Saturday. He came out again Sunday. I had a lot of old guys there, man. Zach Zubia, Kirk Dressendorfer, a bunch of old guys were making the rounds. So it was just fantastic. You can probably hear it in my voice. I'm absolutely exhausted. Like that weekend took 7 days worth of energy out of me. And man, just hat tip to both of the teams. That was just such a competitive series. You had to really lock in as a fan the entire game, all 3 days. It was very high quality baseball. I mentioned on Twitter, yesterday after the series concluded, that I really feel like A&M has, played us about as tough as any team has this season. Obviously, LSU took a game from us, Friday night game, but felt like Saturday and Sunday, Texas kind of got the best of them. And, there was a little bit of separation in some of those games. But, man, that A&M team, they can play. And just respect to Texas, man, for getting the job done. Hanging in there, like Zach said, man, on Sunday especially, you were just waiting for Texas to make their move, right? They were down the majority of that game, and you could just tell that there's like a sense of calm in this baseball team. I think they know somebody's going to step up, somebody's going to do something big. They don't press, they don't panic, and you can kind of feel that confidence from the fans as well, right? The fans just kind of get more and more into the game as it goes on Sunday, and for us to rally back a couple times and then get that go-ahead home run was just fantastic. So couldn't be more proud of the team. Congratulations to them for the sweep.
Yeah, you mentioned the super regional vibe of that whole weekend, and I thought, to me, it felt a lot like being in Omaha. It kind of felt like, the Sunday game felt like an elimination type of a game, from the Aggie perspective, and you saw it on their faces when that game was over. They were just completely dejected. Like that was the end of their season is what, I mean, if you didn't know any of the context and you just played the last pitch of that game and saw that double play, you would have said, you could say that was an elimination game of some sort. That was the emotion of the whole thing. I thought the crowd Friday night, Saturday, just absolutely amazing. Sunday, you could tell people were getting tired. You could tell, that it was going to take some stuff to kind of have to happen for the crowd to really, really get back to that level. And they did. And man, yeah, I thought it was a blast. Really good time. My voice is pretty tore up as well, so I apologize if I'm, don't sound as awesome as I usually do out there, but yeah, man, it was a great time. And you spoke about just the resiliency of this team. We keep talking about that over and over and over. Zach, you said it was a different guy. I had that in my notes as well. It was a different guy all three games. The only person that had an RBI in multiple games in this series was Ethan Mendoza. Everybody else was a new guy every day. Tommy Farmer hits his first home run in his career as a Texas Longhorn. That one couldn't have came at any better time. I mean, you almost can't write a script for like a guy like Tommy Farmer any better than that. Hey man, it's a 1-0 game. We're getting late in the game. Fastball gone. I mean, to make it to, and that's huge insurance in a game like that when the pitching is so tight. You guys mentioned the A&M team and them coming in and just really putting up a big fight. I agree 100%, man. They were tough. They were swing for swing. And Zach, you mentioned the margins. I heard Sloss talking about that this morning as well. It's really just about who moves on from things better, I think. And we talked a little bit last week as we were talking about this series about, does some of this baggage, that these A&M players have, can you carry that type of emotional energy for 3 games? And I thought they actually did a pretty good job of doing it, but man, Texas was just stoic and just completely, we don't care. I don't care that you just came in and hit a home run to take the lead after we tied the game. I don't care. Like we're gonna go do stuff and we're gonna go make plays, and that's exactly what they did. This team they are the funnest team I think I've ever seen, like in any sport. Just the way they continue to find ways to score runs, get people out. How many times do you see a 3-6-1 double play? And I think we've seen 2 in the last few weekends or last few weeks out of this Texas team. We saw Ruger Riojas be a part of a double play, I believe. I might be wrong on this one, but I feel like he made a really good defensive play on Friday night. Maybe he started a double play.
Yeah.
You guys mentioned the bunt that A&M tried to lay down, and Schuessler said, "No, we're going to get you at third." And they've done that 3 times, I feel like, in the last 3 or 4 weeks. So, man, it's like it's got to be suffocating to try to play this team because it almost doesn't. You do the right things, and they still figure out a way to get you out and shut down anything you're trying to do. It's rough. What do you think, Mark and Zach, about? I kind of posed the question: did Aggie just get hot these last few weeks before they came to Austin, or were we starting to see the potential? Do you think they were just hot? Do you still think the potential's there? Like they've got to go. Who are they playing this weekend? They're playing LSU.
They host LSU. Yeah.
Yeah. So do we expect those bats to pop off again, or do we think what are we thinking there?
I think A&M is a really solid team. I kind of think the opposite. I wonder how they started the season so slow. I know they did have some some injuries, right? But now you can see it, with Texas as an example, that the good teams will find a way to work themselves around some of the injuries that they do get. And I think A&M lost a lot of games early that nobody was really expecting. And I think you're seeing the quality baseball from A&M now that I think will continue through the rest of the season, right? So time will tell if it, if they started to turn it on a little bit too late. They do have some tough games ahead of them. I'm really interested to see how they bounce back against LSU, right? And I think if they have a bad weekend at home against LSU, they could be in trouble if they drop that series. But if you look at the opposite, if they're able to win that series, right, then they're right back in it. And tell you, they're a scary club. So I think they're going to compete.
I don't want to play them again. I
expect them to
guarantee
make
you
the
that.
postseason.
They're a team I don't want to play again because all three of those games, 1-run games, one swing. You take a swing away from Texas, you add a swing to Texas A&M, and that series could have been completely different.
I think the biggest thing for me was they kind of put together their best performance in one weekend, right? Like they looked good against Arkansas. They had looked good against Tennessee and getting those wins. And obviously South Carolina, who's just not a very good team, but it was really the offense that carried them. Against Texas, they put together the complete package, right? Prager went deep and he was locating, which he hasn't done in SEC play. Lampkin was just dominating the zone with that fastball and slider mix. And then Miles Patton was really, really good still. If anything, I think the crack that finally showed this weekend against Texas that hasn't necessarily showed the past couple weekends for A&M was their bullpen, right? Their bullpen early on was not very good. But this weekend, it kind of came back to bite them again. Like their guys just really couldn't handle those high leverage situations where in the past couple weeks they have. And so I think that honestly, that was for me was the big turning point. It was Texas waiting it out, grinding it out, getting into that bullpen, and then again, just taking that same approach where they're going to grind you down as a reliever, where you don't necessarily have that same mentality. When you're a reliever, you want to go in, and get the hell out, right? You don't want to drag it out. And by Texas dragging those long at bats, it really starts to drag because then you're guessing yourself. You're like, man, what do I throw next? And it makes it a lot tougher. And so to me, that was the big turning point was when Texas was able to get the bullpen and they weren't swinging at the stuff that normally guys would swing at just because they've got such good plate discipline. It's like, okay, yeah, it's a matter of time now. They're going to get a guy on, they're going to move him over. And, Sloss talked about it today, but I think just some really high IQ baseball plays as well in terms of how they ran the bases. That play by Jalen, a lot of times you don't go home on that that play. Like the ball got away, but not far. I mean, it was damn close. And so just really high IQ baseball running, and then defense obviously was really solid. They only committed one error across the entire weekend. So
yeah, you talk about that Aggie bullpen, and Sunday for sure they bring in their guy. He's the guy we talked about last week. I believe Weston. I believe is his name.
Weston Moss.
Yeah, Weston Moss. Really great pitcher, just did not have it on Sunday. And matter of fact, he didn't really have it on Friday night either. I think it was Friday he came in and pitched originally. But yeah, 2 outs and he walks the bases loaded, and then Rylan Galvan comes up with the big hit. He was one of those guys that didn't have a great weekend, but found a way at some point during the series to put his mark on it, put his stamp on it. They, going back to this Aggie offense, though, we talked about they were scoring almost 11 runs per game over the last 8 SEC games. They had 8 runs total. They hit 227 on the weekend. Here's the big one. Jace Laviolette 1 for 9 on the weekend. The bullpen for Texas only gave up 3 runs all weekend. And this one is staggering to me. I did not realize it while I was there. Texas pitching stranded 27 A&M base runners over the weekend. So just like I said kind of earlier, you get on base, you get the leadoff guy on, and then you just cannot get him around. You just can't make something happen. Texas finds a way to get outs, make pitches, make good defensive plays. Just really sort of a smothering team. And I heard I heard Sloss kind of talking about it. You guys were talking about team. And I thought something that was pretty interesting that he said this morning when you were interviewing him, Zach. He kept saying, you know, they may not be the best team. And I think that's an interesting comment because I think that's the type of stuff that makes you the best team. I think what he was alluding to and what he probably meant to say was we may not be the most talented team. You look at us up and down the lineup, we may not be the lineup that you would pick if you had the choice. But as a team, I don't think there's a better team in baseball right now than the Texas Longhorns. And I'm talking about like they just play for each other. They have each other's backs. Everybody's digging in, trying to figure out what they can do to help the team win. I'll play left field, coach. I'll play second base tomorrow. Oh, you need me to DH? I'll do that, coach. I don't think you're seeing that in any other teams. And so I know what y'all were trying to say, and I'm not trying to be critical of the words, but I think words are important. And I think the team for this Texas Longhorn team is if it's not the best, show me the best team. Show me the best group of guys that have come together this year and done anything remotely close to this.
Yeah. I mean, he's right. Like they're not the most talented team. Like they're not going to put up the same statistical numbers as other teams. Although pitching wise, like they're number 2 in the nation in ERA. So obviously they are doing that. But yeah, it's interesting because, you know, a lot of these guys weren't picked high up on the preseason list. They're not as high up on the MLB draft list and all that. But, you know, I thought it was really interesting because he said, like, these guys just, they're desperate to win, right? Like
Yes,
these guys want to win so badly that it's at their core. And these guys have bled. They've put in the work. They've grinded through not bad. And it's not like they had bad years, right? Like they were semi-successful in most parlance of college baseball, but they want that next step, right? And this coaching staff has been able to put that mentality in their head that, like, it doesn't matter if you're not the most talented guy or if you have an off night. It's no big deal. Like, you got a guy next to you that's going to pick it up, right? Doesn't matter if he's a freshman. Doesn't matter if he's a senior. Hell, Andre Duplantier is now 8th all time in appearances for Texas, right? Like, that's insane. Like a guy like Andre Duplantier who missed a significant chunk of time just due to injury. But he came back for a 6th year because he's like, hey, you're not going to find a better group of guys, a better place to be. He's like, what else would I be doing, right? Like, I'm having fun. This is what I'm here for.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's definitely, you know, people ask, you know, because I'll get messages occasionally from folks and they're like, you know, what is it with this team? How do they keep winning? It's mentality, man. That's all it boils down to. Like, they want it more than the other guy. So, yeah, it's been interesting to watch for sure.
Yeah, we're talking Texas baseball. We're talking a little bit about this series, but mostly just this Texas team at this point in the show. Marc, you've been around a lot of this. I know you've been to a lot of high sort of leverage situations with this Texas team. Is this the best? This is going to sound crazy. Let's maybe throw out Omaha. Let's just talk like regular season, maybe regionals type games. Is this like the most clutch, best, like gritty team we've seen up to that point?
I really think it is from 1 to 9. I can't remember another team, and I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago, right? We've had some weekends in SEC play where our top guys were pretty bad, you know, at the plate and didn't do a whole lot, and we found a way around it, right? I think in recent memory, we all know that there's been games in the past handful of years where if Cody Clemens doesn't give you 3 hits, Texas is going to score 1 run and lose the game, right? If Melendez doesn't hit a ball out of the park, Texas is going to lose a 3-2 game to somebody, right? And it's like if the big guy's not swinging and if he doesn't show up for a series, you're in trouble. You mentioned it earlier, man. I mean, it's literally a different guy every game. I want to give a shout out to Gumbo. You know, Duplantier had a huge hit on Friday, and you know, I was very happy to see him kind of have some success over the weekend. But he stepped up. You know, you see A-Rod come back from injury and struggle a lot at the plate, and then he had a big weekend with 5 hits or something like that, 3 of them yesterday. So it just gives you a lot of confidence when you know that it doesn't have to come from the same 2 or 3 guys every game. And I think we're at the point now, right, where a couple weeks ago I was worried about the bottom half of our lineup, and I didn't have a lot of confidence in those guys. But now you get to that bottom half, and you feel like somebody like Farmer is gonna get a big hit and do something big, right? And Duplantier is gonna draw a walk, get on base, and cause some trouble on the base pass. So
Mhm.
again, I just think from 1 to 9, man, it's that attitude that they just come to the park every day knowing that they're going to win. Schlossnagel, I heard him say that to you this morning, Zach, about how they want to win every time they come to the stadium and they expect to win. And you can just kind of see that in their demeanor. So again, it's just been fantastic to watch. It's so exciting as a fan. And you just kind of really fall in love with a team like that never gives up, and everybody's kind of got their teammates back. And I think you saw the pitching staff even exude that this weekend, where you have a tough outing on Sunday, right, where Jason Flores doesn't make it out of the second inning. And if you would have told me going into Sunday's game that Flores was going to go 1 inning uh, and come out of the game, I would have said, yeah, we're probably not going to win that game. I'm
Right.
not sure if we're going to have enough pitching to put together 9 innings. But then Duplantier comes in, saves the day, pitches his ass off, and gives us a chance to win that game. So it's always somebody.
Yeah. What
And
about a guy like he's really come on here lately, but what about a guy like Thomas Burns coming in game 2 and
Wow.
just
Yeah.
absolutely gassing it up? I mean, just throwing the ball right by these guys. 98, 99. That's just big time stuff to me. And I know these guys ramped up. I know when he came in, I mean, he's like a bulldog. We've talked about Wiener being like this bulldog mentality. Like, I don't think there's a pitcher on this roster that's more bulldogish than Thomas Burns. He's to me, he's like a football player that's playing baseball, and he just wants to go like mow people down. And he probably could.
I
He's a
wouldn't
big,
want to get in the box
yeah,
against
that's a
him,
big
man.
ass dude.
That's a big dude.
Yeah. So yeah, he just comes out there and is just ripping off 98, 99. And then you look at a guy like, Grayson Saunier that comes in on Sunday, ends up getting his first win of the season. He finds a way to pitch around 3 hits in 1 1/3, had a walk, had a K. He comes in and does his job. And so it's just like, I don't know, man. You just, as a fan, you sit there and watch this sometimes and you go, like kind of going back to that Texas State game from Tuesday night last week. When that kid hit that grand slam, you're just kind of like, well, probably not coming back from that one. And then they just find a way to come back from that one. And it's just like we've said a million times, it's a different guys every time. So I'm really excited about a lot of these newer guys out of the bullpen, which we're going to need because obviously, Jared Spencer not going to play the rest of the season. And so we hope the best for him as he does his surgery and all that stuff. But we're going to need other guys to step up. And we've been kind of building a little bit of depth over the last few weeks. And it's starting to pay off. And these guys are coming in these high leverage situations and they're making pitches. So yeah, this team pretty phenomenal. I will remember this one for a long time. Another thing, 1 error all weekend, and it was on that pop fly that went 9,453 feet in the air, and just kind of got blown around with the wind. And I mean, it sucked, but if that's the worst thing that happens to you over a 3-game stretch, that's pretty good stuff right there. And I think the other thing is we already kind of talked about it. They banged the ball around pretty good on Sunday. They just happened to couldn't out-duel a bunch of really good outfielders for that A&M team. So a lot of those things fall a different way, and who knows what this whole deal looks like. So pretty exciting stuff. Big weekend for the Texas Longhorns. How big of a, I don't know, Zach, you're around the team obviously more than we are. Like, how big of a sort of maybe relief is getting that one behind them and doing it so successful? Do you think they even care? I mean, we talk about it all the time, how they're just next game, next pitch, all that stuff. They looked really excited to win those games, and they should be. But do you feel like there's any kind of like maybe monkey off the back, kind of seeing that one on the schedule out for the last few weeks?
I wouldn't say that necessarily. I think they were amped up after Friday night, and they were very amped up after Saturday.
Yeah.
After the Sunday win, I got to be honest, it was more like,
okay,
this is business, right?
Yeah.
Like you didn't hear the same kind of celebration and the ongoings in the locker room that you heard on Saturday night when it was like, okay, yeah, this meant something, right? Like there was a fire there. On Sunday, I was like, yeah, we did our business. Let's dress up, get the hell out of here. Let's go enjoy our evening. I mean, it really did feel like that. But you could tell that it means something a little more, just because anytime like the coaches are sitting down post game, like typically those guys are in and out. I mean, Sauce-Nagel is the fastest coach I've seen get to post game and then get out the door. He's out of there. And same thing with the assistants. And when they're hanging out around the locker room, just like, okay, let's enjoy this moment for a moment. I mean, this is something a little different, right? And so I think in some ways, I think it's probably the toughest, and this is going to sound crazy, but I think it's probably the toughest series that Texas has faced all season, just because of the lead up, the run up, the noise, just everything surrounding it. But on the other hand, to Marc's point, like they're a damn good team. I mean, post game, even Sauce-Nagel admitted, like, hey, I have zero doubts about these guys. Like you don't want to see them come regional time, because if they can put it together and sneak into with 13 wins and they go in as a 3 seed, you do not want them in your regional. I mean, they're going to, that's one of those teams where like, it's an Old Miss. They're the very last team in. And all of a sudden you look up and you're like, oh crap, they're in Omaha. Like, how did this happen? Right. Like that's the kind of talent they have on that team. But I think it is good that they got it out of the way. I hate the fact that it's kind of scheduled this way, where it was the big run up. They've got a crappy Tuesday night opponent. No offense, Prairie View A&M, for the one person that's a fan out there. I think I saw 51 people counted in the stands at their last game, for the record. So not too worried about getting, called out. But the fact that it's a short week, right? I think that does matter, because you did expend a lot of energy. You did put a lot into it. And they get 1 day less rest, plus they have to travel. Now they're going to Fayetteville. What's more interesting is how they come out of it, not necessarily the result of it. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of bodies in the stands, I know Texas set a series record. 27,000 something folks watched that series. Was it 27 or 20?
So they set a 3-game regular season record.
Okay.
At 23,680.
Okay, I was way off, but that's still a lot of bodies that watched baseball over the weekend. So, I don't know, man. I am exhausted, but I'm also just really excited about just how good this team has just continued to be able to perform. And I think there's 3 series left. They're in really good shape. They've got a 5-game lead in the SEC over the opponent they're going to go play this weekend. And man, we'll talk about it a little later, but Arkansas has kind of struggled here the last few weeks in the SEC play. So
one other thing,
they're a talented team too. And
before you moved on, we were talking about the desperation to win. Max Grubbs pitched all 3 days, right?
Yeah.
Like, and he did throw a lot of pitches, but on Sunday, or I should say Saturday night, even Sauce-Nagel said there's 0 chance you're going to see Volantis, and I don't think you'll see Grubbs.
Yeah.
And going into it, it was like, man, that if they get down to the one run game at the bottom, like they're going to want to throw Grubbs. And sure enough, Grubbs went up to Max Wiener and was like, hey man, I'm it. Like, you need me. I feel good. Like, right. I'm not tired. I feel fresh. So Max went up to Coach Sauce and said, hey, look, if you need a 1 out, like he can get it for you. And sure enough, I mean, it was just that, like, that's the mentality though. They are desperate to win, and they don't care how it happens or who does it. They just want to do it.
Yeah. I think Sloss's exact quote was, Max said, hey, Grubbs wants to help.
Yeah.
Grubbs wants to help, and he says he can go. So
more like, give me the damn ball, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's the player telling the coach, give me the damn ball. He's not going to say that, but he's like, give me the damn ball. Just big time stuff. Let's jump into the three best. Folks, we've been doing the three best all year, where we each pick our three best players from the series or the game or whatever. This was by far, to me, the hardest one to pick, because I feel like, for me, you could pick almost anybody that did something of note in this series and say that guy should be in the three best. But we did our best, and I think you'll find this will definitely be the most off that we've all three been on this. A few times we've had one or two that maybe weren't the same, but for the most part, we're all in the same land, and we were absolutely not this time. Zach, you're on the main stage right now. We'll let you. Well, you're not now, but we'll let you start anyway.
So I went stash baby boy. So Ruger Riojas, Luke Harrison, and then Adrian Rodriguez. Like I said, Ruger, he set the stage, right? He did what he needed to do and just made it happen on Friday night. Luke Harrison, I think the expectation kind of over his performances the past couple of weeks was like, we want 5 out of him. We think we get 5 out of him, and we're in a really good place. And he just went out and shoved. Like, you always talk about, sometimes he doesn't have his best stuff, but he competes, and he just competes really, really hard. And then Adrian Rodriguez, the one-time Texas A&M signee, just has a special day on Sunday and ends up hitting the game, what would be the game-winning run with that solo shot to the left field that he just got up in the air. I mean, a 46-degree launch angle. When the analytics team saw it, they're like, "Oh, what?" It was great. So, yeah, those are my 3. But so many guys that are deserving throughout. But those 3 embodied what it meant to truly bring this series home.
Yeah, if you'll notice, usually we have one guy on the main picture here, and that's kind of the one we all unanimously felt like was the best one. It's the whole team this time, because again, that whole team did just team. It was a team. It was literally probably the best team 3-game series win I've ever seen. Usually you have guys that just come out and they hero ball it. We didn't really see that this weekend. We just saw a bunch of guys grinding, doing what they had to do when it was their shot to do something, and that's why we end up winning. Marc.
Yeah, from my perspective, I kind of took the easy way out. To your point, there were so many guys to consider. I just decided to pick one guy from each game and not worry about the overall weekend. So for me, I had Farmer for Friday night. Right, that big home run that he hit, his first home run as a Horn, was the catapult that we needed to win that game on Friday. And then Mendoza just kind of did it all on Saturday, right? Several big hits for him out of that DH spot. So really happy to see him get that done. He had a big home run as well. And then Sunday, I mentioned it earlier, Duplantier. I mean, just coming in that situation, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he came in the second inning down 2 runs with 2 guys on base and nobody out, right? And I think his first batter, I don't remember where the ball went, but I think he ended up first and third with 1 out. And I'm just sitting there saying, hey, if we can get out of this down less than 4 runs, we'll have a chance. And he gets out of the inning without giving up anything. So that was just fantastic. And, we got to the point there where, like, he trots out in the 4th, he trots out in the 5th, he just keeps coming out. I was keeping, I was expecting them to go to somebody else, and Dre just kept coming out there and battling and putting in that work. So, he was my number 3. But to your point, man, so many guys that you could mention. And again, going back to our previous points, I think it's crazy that if you would have told me coming into the A&M series that my top 3 wouldn't include people, like Jalen Flores, Rylan Galvan, Dylan Volantis, even though they played really well, right? It just kind of speaks volume to the completeness of this team and everybody from 1 to 9 doing their job.
Yeah, absolutely. I had Ruger Riojas. I thought as my number 1 guy. I thought for a guy that has kind of within just a few weekends gone from reliever to the Sunday guy, and now all of a sudden he's having to start the Friday night game in this big series, this big rivalry deal with just so much buildup. for him to come in and scatter 5 hits in 5 2/3, 0 runs, 0 walks, 3 Ks. I thought that was just phenomenal work by Ruger, and really kind of set the tone early on from a pitching perspective for this team. It's just like, hey, man, we know you guys have been hitting the ball all over the ballpark, but you're not doing that here. And I thought El Bigote comes in and just, again, really sets the tone there. And then I had Max Grubbs because he pitched in all 3 games. I think that's something you just don't really see anymore. And you were right. You're right, Zach. He didn't pitch a whole lot on Saturday. And honestly, he didn't throw a lot of pitches on Sunday either because he just got it done. But he scattered, 1 hit, 1 run, and 1 2/3 in game 1. Got a couple Ks, pitched 2/3 on Sunday. 4 pitches, got that 3-6-1 double play to save it. So that was a huge play because A&M's right there knocking on the door. And that entire game, every time we got back closer, every time we did something, A&M was smacking back on Sunday. So it was really fun to watch those 2 teams just punch each other all day on Sunday. And then again, the resilient team, the one that just keeps grinding, is the one that ends up getting it done. And then I had Dylan Valanis, man. I thought, 2 hits, 1 walk, 5 Ks in 1 2/3 on Friday night to close it out. Was just crazy. When I saw the line, I mean, I was there. I mean, I'm watching the game, but when I saw the 5K line, I was like, that's a mistake. He didn't K 5 guys. No, he did. And he did it pretty impressively. And then for him to come back again, and we've talked about this a couple times, I believe this is the 3rd SEC series where he's come in back-to-back nights and done it again. Just kind of shuts them down. He picked up his 11th save, leads the SEC, added another K, and he came in a pretty hairy spot. He had runners 2nd and 3rd with 1 out there in the 9th in game 2. So his final line for the weekend, 2 1/3 innings pitched, 6 Ks, 0 earned runs. For a freshman, man, he just comes in and just keeps figuring out ways to make hitters look stupid. So, but I will say again, man, we've talked about a lot of these guys. Farmer, man, hitting that home run. We talked about that a little. Do we have any closure on the home run ball thing? Because I heard the story, and I get that. My initial thought, because I sometimes just kind of think the best in people, was maybe those Aggie players were like, I don't know this dude. I don't know that he's really Tommy Farmer's friend or whatever. Like, I'm not giving him this ball. We'll get it back to the team. Do we know anything about that, Zach, or did they really just stuff that in a ball bucket and roll out a dish Falk with it?
It's probably gone.
Man. I don't like Aggies very much, but I want to feel like that didn't happen.
Oh, it definitely did.
Point, right? How do those guys know who the kid is that's trying to get the ball back, right? Like, I don't know. That story didn't really resonate with me. I'm just like, oh, if it's just some kid in Texas gear asking for the ball and saying he knows Tommy Farmer,
yeah,
I think A&M is probably not the only school that's going to be keeping that ball and not giving it back. And
yeah,
you know what? I'll tell you, if it was one of the guys down there on the left field line, they were having some fun with the bullpen and talking a little bit of trash. So
yeah.
I think that may have been one of the reasons why they didn't get the ball back when they asked for it. So they were having a good time down there.
And Sean, to your point on Devo, Valantis got Terrence Keel, the leadoff hitter, to strike out looking back-to-back nights.
Yeah.
Same guy. So it's not like he's facing a different person or
Right.
anything. Like, he's facing the same guy, same situation. And the other thing about that is if Terrence Keel gets on, he likely scored the tying run or winning run just because of the fact that he's, got runners on the base pass.
Yeah.
But it also brings up Jace Lavalette right up after that. So, I mean, huge spot for the freshman and his ability to just lock in. And, shout out to my guy, Jack de la Champs. If you didn't see the video that he did between Harrison and his road partner, Philip Volantis, it's some funny stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I got a chance to check that one out finally.
Yeah.
I got to meet Jack, and that was pretty cool. I got to meet Jack and his dad. Cool dude, man. Definitely has a lot of love for college baseball, and I think he was probably more hoarse than anybody in the stadium, just from talking to people and just, he's really sort of animated in all his discussion. But yeah, I saw that he was there because I saw the interview you guys did together, Zach, I think before the game on Friday.
Yeah.
And then I actually saw him in the concourse, and I was going to go say hello to him. But I had to get something taken care of, and then when I turned around, he was gone. So, but I did end up running into him at the hotel, and that was really cool to hear him and his dad's story, just how they kind of both ended up there. It was really neat. So, yeah, go check that dude out. He's definitely a great ambassador for college baseball for sure.
And then one other go back on the reason I chose Ruger. You know that you're good and you're having fun at the same time when you bust out an overhand curve 54-mile-an-hour ephus in an at-bat again, or in a pitch against Jace Lavalette. Like, the guy has zero issues with his confidence.
Yeah.
Like, we saw it at the real time. We're like, wait, did he mean to do that? And then after the game, I asked him, I was like, hey, look, I know you've been mixing things up with your sidearm and all that, but like, did you? He's like, oh yeah, I did it on purpose. Just changing the shape, changing the look. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, he does that a lot. He really gives people problems. And I like the way he just kind of busted out at some random weird moment where like none of these announcers are going to go, and I bet you Ruger's about to do something crazy. He's just going to do it at some random time when he needs to make a pitch. So yeah, he's fun to watch. All these guys fun to watch. I'll never shut up saying that. So yeah, man. So there's the three best for this weekend. A wild hodgepodge. I don't think we've ever had this many different guys on the three best. So again, just a testament to this group of guys and how they play together. Let's talk about this Prairie View A&M midweek coming up, because we got to. Guys, this team is, I mean, I know we've said this a bunch of times. This team's not good. This might be the worst not good team that we've ever said this about. They're 11-31, 7-11 in the Southwest Athletic Conference. They've been swept damn near every weekend. It seems like, just running up and down their schedule. They've only won 3 series all season, although they are coming off of a sweep of Alabama A&M. Talk to us about that. What am I missing looking at these stats? Is there anything I'm missing, or is it just this is just a team that is not a good baseball team? And regardless of all the hubbub of this weekend and looking forward to next weekend, that this Texas team shouldn't just run right out of Dish Falk.
So the one thing you have to keep in mind is that even though they're 11-31 on their schedule, in true terms, they're actually only 8-30 because they've played 3 non-D1 teams, including Victoria Northeast Community College of Baptist Schools or some nonsense like that. And then they played 2 against Houston Tillotson here in Austin. But yeah, I mean, in terms of bad, there's it's either 305 or 307 teams in D1 baseball. They're number 299 in the RPI. Their strength of schedule is 292. They've got an ERA north of 9. I'll tell you the craziest statistic though, right? So they've only hit 53 doubles on the year, and they've only hit 28 home runs on the year. That's just not good, right?
Right.
They've hit 20 triples on the year.
Yeah.
They're like a triples machine. It doesn't make any sense, but they're a team that likes to run. They're like 43rd in the nation in steals, so they've stolen 89 bags on the year. Their whip is 209. They've only had 2 saves out of 330 innings. Like, this is a short week. If Texas doesn't get out of there in 7 innings, something has gone demonstrably wrong, because they've got 3 hitters. I'll give them this. They got 3 guys. One is a two-way guy that are hitting over 300. And then everyone else is like below the Mendoza line. So
it looks like Landon Williams is kind of their guy offensively. He's hitting 348, 35 ribbies, 8 home runs, 8 doubles. And as you mentioned, man, the pitching is just, I mean, the team ERA is almost 10. They only got 7 pitchers on the entire roster that are under a 10 ERA. There's not a lot of arms that they can throw at Texas and that are going to be even close to being good.
But I'll tell you what, this is one of those games where they're going to roll some guy out that's legitimately throwing 64-mile-an-hour weirdness. and our guys are going to look at it like,
what do I do with this?
What am I supposed to do? I haven't seen 64 since I was a freshman in high school.
Right.
Like, what do you want me to do with this?
Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, I mean that's something that doesn't come out in the stats. Are they just bad pitchers, but they can throw it up there, or is it like you're saying, they got a bunch of guys throwing beach balls up there and hoping people just can't lay back? I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow, I'm sure. But
they've walked 311 batters, and they've only struck 218 out. So they're definitely not hitting the strike zone. Now I'll say that.
Yeah, and we've talked about it before. This Texas team sometimes can get kind of anxious up there, get a little wound up, and not lay off pitches that they should.
But this is going to be a team where they're going to lay off some pitches. And then, I looked at the stats, and the last time Texas and Prairie View A&M played, Texas beat them 7-0. Texas committed 1 error, but Prairie View A&M committed 6 errors during the game. God. And if you look at the score line, it was actually it was 0-0 going into the 6th inning, and then Texas scored 2, and then they busted open with a 5 spot in the 7th. So I was like, well, how bad could that defensive team be versus this year's? This year has committed 78 errors, so they have a 947 fielding percentage. So essentially, the offensive game plan for Texas should be stand there, do not swing the bat.
Yeah.
And if you do swing the bat, just continue running because they probably missed it anyways.
Wow. Well, I don't know, Mark. What do you think? I mean, I feel like this is a game they'll win, but it's one of those games where I talk about this a ton in football. It's like if you win, nobody cares because you should have won. But if you lose or don't look really great in the game, it's like sort of this catastrophic thing that kind of hangs over you, even though it really doesn't matter. A win's a win. We all know that. But, to your point, Zach, this should be a game they run rule this team. What are your thoughts, Mark, as we're headed into this midweek? We've got an early weekend against Arkansas. What are we thinking?
Yeah, I think from my side, right, my thought process is let's get some new guys in the game. It's a short week. We travel to Arkansas on Wednesday. I'd like to see Galvan get a night off, right? He's been behind the plate damn near every night, and I'd love to see a guy like Oliver Service or Chamberlain slide back there behind the plate. And if you look at the schedule as a whole, right, this is the last quote unquote easy game that we have on the schedule, right? We're getting towards the end of things. This is our second to last midweek, and next Tuesday we play a Lamar team who I think is 36-11, who are really, really good, right? So I think, hopefully you see Schlossnagle look at this game as an opportunity to get some guys some playing time that haven't had an opportunity to play. And again, I want to see some new arms out there get some opportunities on the mound. We saw a couple guys last week in San Marcos that, to put it nicely, I would just say I don't think they maximized their opportunity.
Right.
And some guys didn't necessarily pitch well, and I'd love to see them get another opportunity as well. Also hearing some rumors that there's some fresh arms that might be on the way. And, even a guy like Cade Bing, who hasn't pitched in a week or two, that might be available again for us. So we'll see. But I want to see some fresh faces, and I'm looking for Texas to win the game pretty easily tomorrow.
Yeah, and to your point about the pitching, I mean, maybe this is a game where you give some of those arms that have historically gone in and haven't made the best of their opportunities. You get them in there again, they build up a little confidence. I mean, I've said it like probably 50 times this year. Everybody's probably tired of me saying it, but all these guys are physically good. Most of their problems, when they have problems, are mental type problems, and it just maybe that's like a little piece of confidence, even though it is Prairie View. But if you can go in there and deliver some strikes, get some guys out, that's what your brain remembers. And the next time you go up there, you're like, yeah, I went out there last time and I just mowed people down. And they're D1 baseball players. I think, to MLH 10's kind of point about Galvan, I mean, he has just gotten your point about Galvan, that he has gotten beat up the last couple of weeks. And so that could be huge just to give him some rest heading into that series with Arkansas. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Sloss does as far as getting some guys in and out. I kind of agree with you. I mean, I would be surprised if that's not what we see, that we don't see a lot of guys that haven't got a lot of run get some opportunities, because I just think, one, you get the guys rest that are the starters, and two, you get some guys some opportunities to build some momentum, and it's not in this dire situation, right? They can really go out there and just kind of be baseball players and try to put some good swings on the ball if they're hitters, and if they're pitchers, trying to get some balls across the plate without, that Texas State team, we talk about those guys, but that Texas State team, I know they're not slam Marcus like Zach hates, but I mean, they were hitting the ball pretty well most of this season. So that team can put the ball in play. Real quick, let's take this question. How close is Mendoza going back out into the field? So he's been DHing for what, like 4 weeks now, 3 weeks?
A couple weeks since, yeah.
Yeah. Are we hearing anything about that? Zach, Mark?
After the game on Sunday, he said he felt good. He said as soon as the trainer, Sam, allows him to resume his normal activities, he's ready to go back out there. But, to some degree, there's no real rush because you don't have a true DH to put in,
right?
Give him all the time in the world, right? Like, have that shoulder be perfect before you really kind of rush it back. But, everyone I've talked to said, look, he's working back. He's feeling good. It's just, we're not going to take, it's why you didn't see Jonah this weekend, right? The hamstring's not that bad. He was doing squats, for damn sake. Like,
I saw him running up and down the right field line between every inning.
Yeah. But, they're simply, at this point in the season, they're simply not going to take any chances whatsoever with injuries, right? They've had way too many injuries at this point anyways.
Yeah.
And so they're being uber precautious. If anything, I think the one thing that should have fans excited is the fact that, Max Blue might be a little bit closer than most people realize. Everyone's kind of had the OU date circled from the very beginning because that was kind of the demarcation line. But, there's still an outside chance he's back for the Florida series. Now, again, you don't want to rush the kid back no matter how bad he wants to play. And he's just dying over on the sidelines. But, but the thing is,
funny story about Max. I'm standing up on Truman's bus before the game Friday night, and I look out there, and Max is catching fly balls with a left-handed glove on. And I didn't see this next part, but I'm talking to his dad, and he goes, man, they're telling me, and I don't know if it's a joke or not, they're telling me they're having him practice catching it and then like dropping the glove and coming up and throwing with his right hand. And I was like, so we watched him like the whole bad AB practice, like the next day or Sunday or something, just trying to see if he would do that. I never saw it. But I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, Max running around in the outfield with a left-hander's glove on, shagging fly balls. That's how much he wants to be out there for sure.
Well, on I can't remember what game it was now, but it was maybe this weekend. He had the glove on the left hand, and he was catching it, and then he was just tossing it to one of the outfield teammates to throw it back. But I mean, he's not just sitting around like hanging out. Like, he's been doing the VR to keep his eyes trained. He's been taking outfield balls, even if he's catching left-handed, just to stay sharp within that game. So absolutely.
Yeah. And back to the original, question about Mendoza, and Cole Gross points it out. I think Gumbo's played well at second base. Like, there's no like defensive reason where you just go, gosh, we got to get Mendoza. It's not like Gumbo's is botching plays. I mean, he's making plays. So you certainly don't want to rush guys back when you've got somebody out there that's making plays. And who knows, maybe with that double, Gumbo will get a little hot with the bat and start producing a little bit there. So baseball is a funny game.
And Sean, that's one of the downsides of what we've been talking about, right? With all of the guys producing, is that we're hopefully going to be fortunate enough to get some of our hurt guys back, and then at that point, it's you start running out of spots, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
There's been a lot of guys that have been contributing and doing their part, and at the end of the day, you can only roll 9 guys out there, and if we get Max back and get Ethan in a spot where he's ready to go back in at second, you quickly have a couple too many pieces to play with. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out.
Well, I mean, it's just like Cade Being, like everyone freaked out when he didn't go on Tuesday, but he was dressed out and he was on the 30-man roster this weekend for A&M, so he could have come in and they could have used him during the games as well, if so needed. And so you might see the exact same thing this week where he doesn't play Tuesday night or pitch Tuesday night against Prairie View A&M because, again, a short week. They need to give these guys as much rest as humanly possible, and he may be needed for an inning or two this weekend against Arkansas because he very likely is going to be on the 30-man roster. So, yeah, it's they're having to play a lot of gymnastics when it comes to the lineup at times because it's like, who do we pick, right? Like right now, there's some necessity in there, but say Jonah's fully available and they're ready to roll him out there this weekend. Okay, how are you putting A-Rod back now at second base and taking Gumbo out? Once Max Ballou's back for who, like assuming worst case scenario, who's back during Hoover in the regional play, who are you taking out, right? Like,
I would assume Farmer's going back to left field. But
Farmer's going back to left field. Someone's moving to DH, and all of a sudden you don't have a spot for one of these guys.
Yeah.
So you're going to take Casey, who's played really good third base, out of there to put A-Rod?
Yeah, that's the crazy part of it. And speaking of Casey, speaking of guys,
he's been great.
Man, he hammered the ball this weekend. He absolutely crushed the baseball this weekend. It just didn't show up on the stat sheet. He hit the ball harder than anybody on the team this weekend, according to that little stat sheet thing that the Texas baseball puts out. So yeah, I mean, that you talk about baseball being a funny game. We saw that little bloop Texas leaguer that got A&M on base and got them running on Sunday.
That was 54 miles off the bat, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Casey Borba's wrecking the ball 108 miles an hour and getting out, and this dude bloops one 54 miles an hour, and it's a base hit. So whenever you want to yell at your local baseball player, just remember that happens all the time in baseball. It's not you can't just completely look at the stat sheet and go, that guy sucks or this guy's awesome, because that happens a lot in baseball. So yeah, I agree with it. It's funny. We were talking about at the beginning of the season with this team. We were trying to figure out like where's he going to piece these guys in? And I feel like we were having the conversation based on, we were just going to have enough guys. Like we were just going to have 9 guys that could really be counted on. Right. And then with all these injuries, what I think we've seen, at least what I feel like I've seen a lot more guys step up, and it's not always consistent. It's not always every single game, but there's a lot of guys that have played enough now where you can go, I feel confident. Like I feel confident that Gumbo could go up there, given enough opportunities, he's going to get the ball in play and maybe get some runs across the plate. So, and he's a guy that, just statistically hasn't been a dynamo since he's had to play, but he gave us a really big hit on Friday night. And so if he can do that there, I think he can do that anywhere. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see as more and more of these guys get healthy, what that does to the lineup and how Sloss kind of handles that. I feel like, and maybe Zach, you can kind of weigh in on this. I feel like he knows the guys he wants to play. Like I think he at this point, obviously in the season, I feel like he probably goes, if I have these 9 guys, those are my 9 guys. And I don't think he's going to toy around with that too much, unless something just isn't working. And then I think we may see one of these other guys that's played a little bit, maybe get some opportunities. But I think when everybody comes back on board, hopefully soon, we're going to see 9 guys. And so you guys are right. Like who are the guys that have to sit because of that, and what does that look like? So interesting stuff. We talked a little bit about Arkansas. We've mentioned Arkansas. Let's jump right into that one. Arkansas tied for second in the SEC with LSU, 5 games back at Texas. Really good team. Previously number 1 a few weeks ago, 37-9, 14-7 in the SEC. 3 sweeps rather to start off SEC play: South Carolina, Missouri, Vandy, and then the last 3 weeks they've lost series to Georgia, A&M, and Florida. what's going on with these Arkansas Razorbacks? I know they're your team, Zach. Talk to us about what's going on with this Razorback team.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the bats have been hot. They haven't got the pitching. Their pitching, which was supposed to be their strength this season, really hasn't been as strong as what you would think.
It's pretty good statistically. Like they're 3.8 team ERA. That Zach Root dude, man, he's got 81 Ks on the. I mean, they've got some arms. Yeah. I think statistically it looks good, but probably what you really mean is like it just hasn't turned up the last 3 weeks. Like they've gone backwards from where they started.
Yeah, I mean they're 5-5 in their last 10 games. And to your point, they lost the last 3 series. But they just, their starters have been very good, yes. But you look at their backup guys, and outside of Jimenez, they've really not done what you would think they have. Christian Fauch hasn't been as good necessarily as you would have thought he would be. And maybe the more devastating blow was the fact that they lost Carson Wiggins, who's probably got the most pure stuff on the team. And he blew out his elbow on a pickoff throw to first base this past weekend. Oh, no. So you really hate to see that. Just, you hate to see the injuries. But, yeah, I mean, the thing to me is like their hitting is light years better than where it has been in the past couple of years. And now it's almost like their bullpen guys aren't getting the job done. It's the pitching actually that has been the issue of late. So, but from a hitting side, I mean, in my opinion, they've got 2 of the best hitters in the entire SEC, and the Eloy brothers. Like those guys are human highlight reels.
Listen to this. The Eloy brothers have combined for 109 RBIs, 28 home runs, 28 doubles, a triple. Offensively, those 2 guys are sick. And then, the Eloy brothers are getting all the pub, and they are really good. They deserve it. But they got 4 guys that are over 45 RBI this year on that Arkansas lineup. So this is a team that bangs the ball. And as we start talking about predictions, though, guys, I wonder, we've seen this before. We saw this Georgia team come into Dish Falk that, couldn't be stopped. This Georgia offense did nothing. We've seen this Aggie offense that had just gotten so red hot just come in and just look pedestrian against I mean, I'm not saying that this Arkansas offense can't crack the code and get the ball around on this Texas pitching staff, but someone's going to have to show me, like, before I'm going to say, oh, this offense is really good, they're going to bust Texas up. Like, I'm not going to do that until I see somebody that's really good bust Texas up, because it just hasn't happened at all.
But, I mean, at the same time, Texas was playing. I mean, as tired as the little tirade is that Aggies like to say, like, Texas was at home against LSU. They were at home against A&M. They were at home against Georgia, right? Like, the Dish Falk plays a lot bigger than a lot of these other stadiums. And, they canceled. So Arkansas has already canceled their game against Missouri State, which is actually a pretty tough matchup because Missouri State's got a decent little team. They canceled that game tomorrow night, so they're going to be a little fresher. They're not going to have necessarily the wear and tear that Texas does, having had such an emotional weekend and have played a Tuesday night game and not having to travel. So, yeah, to me, I still think, in my opinion, that A&M is the hardest series that Texas has played. But right up there is Arkansas. I mean, I picked them to play second in the SEC this season, and they just have a lot of the pieces. I mean, they've got a lot of talent. So,
yeah, they're a really good team.
It'll be a really tough match.
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously a really good team, and a lot of the things we talked about with Texas A&M and the rivalry, a lot of people forget. Way back in the day, Arkansas and Texas might have been as big of a rivalry as you could get, especially on the football field. You talk about A&M fans hating Texas, you talk about Texas Tech fans hating Texas. Arkansas fans have no love in their hearts for Texas Longhorns. So I do think that is something to think about, as we go into Fayetteville, which they call Fayette-Nam lovingly, because it's a mess, man. It's not going to be a friendly environment for these Texas Longhorns. So it'll just be another one of those things that this team will have to try to overcome. this weekend if they're going to walk out of there with a win. Marc, what do you think, like, looking at this series, what do you think the keys are headed in for this Texas team?
That's a very good question. I think it's going to be the way that they handle the environment, right? You talk about the hate from the Arkansas side. I'm anticipating that, the type of environment that we just talked about in Austin for A&M and some of the big series before that are going to be what you're going to see in Fayetteville, right? They're probably top 3 in terms of home field advantage in college baseball. And they have the number 1 ranked Texas Longhorns coming into town. I think they're going to be ready for that. I'll be honest with you, when we go on the road or even when we have good teams come to Austin, I would much rather play them when they're hot than play them when they've lost 3 series in a row.
Yeah.
Just because Arkansas is better than that, right? And
yeah.
I haven't looked it up. I will guess that Arkansas probably hasn't lost 4 series in a row in a decade. I could be wrong, but I feel like they're good every year, right?
Yeah.
And losing four series in a row is not common for them. So I think they're going to be charged up and ready to go, and that's just going to be the biggest thing for us is how we handle the environment. And again, I think when you start talking about some of the depth issues from a starting pitching perspective, we're going to have somebody on Sunday that's not used to those type of environments necessarily, that's going to have to step up and be on the mound for a really big game. So it's going to be quite a challenge for Texas. And I think all things considered, probably the biggest challenge of the season so far.
And Texas is 2-7 in their last 9 games against Arkansas. Their last win came back in 2020, that ill-fated 2020 season, and then even worse, the 2019 season. But Texas hasn't won in Fayetteville since 1991. So
we're getting statted. We're getting statted.
Again, going back to Marc's point, they've lost 3 series in a row. Good teams don't lose 4 series in a row, and they are a good team, right? And so it's kind of good on good, which is great for college baseball. But man, it's a hell of a matchup. And then the other thing I look into is at this time of the season, home field advantage matters a lot. This past weekend, the home field team went 8-0 in the SEC. Every single home series was won. And so again, that's you're not going to see that happen every single weekend, but that's typical of this time of year where all the teams are a little beat up, they're a little worn down, and that those fans help energize those players and just get the little extra out of them. So yeah, it's going to be tough.
Yeah. I mean, I think, we had Marc, you mentioned it last week, tons of storylines about that game, about that series with Texas A&M. There's a lot of little behind the scenes storylines with this one too. Again, a lot of, I think a lot of the younger Texas fans probably just don't remember like the Southwest Conference days and all those things when these two schools battled it out a lot in football, baseball, basketball, those things. So that place is going to be a zoo. I wound up deciding not to go. I had hotel and everything, and I just thought, man, I've got so much stuff going on these last few weekends of before we hit summer. I just can't do it. I got to stay back. And I really wish I could go because I think it's going to be just one of those environments that's just absolutely nuts. So yeah, man, it'll be really interesting. I think my keys are kind of, the crowd is definitely one of them, like being able to handle the environment. But I kind of rolled that up into something else called just be you. Like everybody on this Texas roster just needs to go out and be them. And they don't need to be anything more than they are. We've already seen when this team just goes and does what it does and everybody just does their part, this team is really, really tough to beat. And I don't care if you're playing in Fayetteville. I don't care if you're playing in Austin. I don't care where you're playing. When they're playing their brand of baseball, which I think is kind of dirtbaggy and kind of gritty and just, in your face, they're tough to beat. And so for this Texas team, I think it's almost don't get too ramped up. Don't worry so much about that environment. Just go do what you've been doing all season long. And I think you give yourself an opportunity to be successful. That doesn't mean they will be successful. It just means like you're in the picture. And I think the biggest thing is be patient at the plate, because I've seen Arkansas a few times this year, not a whole lot. They can spin it a little bit. They throw a lot of breaking pitches, and we have some guys right now that are kind of struggling to tell the difference between breaking pitch and fastball, and they're swinging at a lot of stuff that's winding up not being close. And I think that'll be the key. Like, can we continue this sort of pattern where we're getting these guys deep in counts, just consistently up and down the lineup, and then getting them out of the game, and then where we start to see some of the guys that aren't spinning it as well do rely on fastballs more, and then that's where we attack. So, to me, those are kind of the keys as they head into this weekend. Let's talk predictions real quick. Zach, what do you got for this weekend?
Big brain energy. Texas loses 1-2.
1-2, baby. Zach's doing it again. We're gonna write a song about you, Zach.
Good.
What games do you think they drop? Let's make it hard.
I think they win Friday night, interestingly enough, and then I think they drop the next two.
So you think Texas wins Friday?
Or sorry, wins Thursday and drops the Friday, Saturday.
Okay, yeah. We're running. Sorry, folks, we're running into that one again. It's a Thursday through Saturday deal. Texas Thursday, and then Arkansas Friday and Saturday. All right, Zach, we got you. What do you think, Mark?
I'm not going to bullshit you guys. I think this is going to be a very difficult series for Texas to win. But I will say this: I am a fan. I'm not a media personality. I refuse to pick against the Texas team. I feel like they have earned that respect right now for me to side with them, and I'm not going to predict Texas loses the series until I actually see it happen. So I'm gonna say Texas is gonna find a way to get it done and win the series 2-1.
All right, you got any thoughts on which games they win?
I just have so much confidence right now in Ruger, and again, looking at Schlossnagle's philosophy, right? I think he'll go all in with Grubbs and Volantis as he usually does when he needs to win the first game. So I'm going to say Texas on Thursday, and I'll say Texas wins on Friday as well. I think they're going to take the first two games of the series.
Yeah,
but that's always a tough question, man.
Yeah, no, it is. It's almost an impossible question because we heard Sloss say this morning the margins are so close. Like one little thing, one way or the other could change. Like this series against A&M, literally, like 3 plays go the other way, and we might be talking. We might be here crying about how we got swept by Texas A&M and not the other way around. So yeah, I mean, I think that is a really tough question. I was thinking about this today, and I was kind of thinking it in terms of like as we get into a regional and hopefully into a super regional, and hopefully as this team hopefully advances to Omaha, this is a really tough pitching staff to beat the first 2 games of a 3-game series. Like they are. And they've seen it, and we've seen it, and they've done it so many times so far in this SEC play. They can win the first game, and then they can come back and pitch guys that pitched on Friday night, and they can be successful. And when you're rolling guys out there like Grubbs and Volantis back-to-back night, like you just have to know that the other teams are like, what in the hell? Like, how do these dudes just keep coming out of the bullpen, and how can they just keep throwing the way they throw? So I think if Ruger can get us a good start and Harrison can get us a good start, I absolutely think this is a Texas team that can bring in Grubbs and bring in Volantis and just kind of close the door on a really good Arkansas offense. That's what I think is actually going to happen. I think this team is so good on Friday and Saturday, and then what we've seen is they figure out these Sunday games kind of ad hoc, but Friday and Saturday, it's almost like it almost doesn't matter what happens. Like you just have this confidence in the guys that are going to be out there. And so, Zach, you said it. Arkansas is struggling a little bit pitching. I don't care that they've lost 3. I look at it the other way. Dude, you lost 3 series in a row. I don't care what the analytics say. You lost 3 series in a row. You're not playing good baseball right now. Texas is kicking the shit out of everybody. They are playing good baseball right now. And until you show me differently, I don't care what the name on the front of the jersey says. I don't. If you lose 3 series in a row, you're just not playing well. And that's going to be in their heads. As much as people will say it's not, it's going to be. They know the number 1 team's coming. They know how good that team is. They know that margin of error is very small with that team. I think that makes them press. I think you see some hero stuff, and I don't think it's going to work out very well for Arkansas. I think Texas is going to get it done 2-1 against Arkansas, and I think it's front end of the series. I think Thursday and Friday. I mean, the only caveat I would say to that, the only thing that would hold me back a little bit from that is the short week. Can those guys get their bodies back in form to go out and do what they've done consistently so far this season?
Yep.
So there's our predictions, folks. Zach is the devil again. Zach's tripling, quadrupling down. Should we get like a bullpen challenge thing going somehow with any of this? I mean, has Zach paid up on the first one yet?
He has not. I'm still waiting on my mats. Maybe this weekend. We'll see.
You need to get some gift certificates over to Pena from Matt's Ranchero is my special.
I came to left field and I told him, I said, we need to schedule our Mats date. So let's get it going.
He just blew you off.
I know.
See, I'm counting that first initial bet though as the start of this slide for Arkansas because they haven't won a series since that Georgia series. That happened. That was the first of their 3 that they lost. So
that's true.
I'm going to take credit for that, and we'll see if we can ring it up to 4.
Yeah, I mean they're a good squad, man. They've got talent. Those Alloy guys, man, they do smack the ball. So it'll be fun to see, man. I just keep saying like this Texas team is so resilient, and I think that just wears on people, man. I think it's like I feel like one of those Alloy brothers is going to do something, and Arkansas is going to be all high, and then somebody from Texas is just going to come do something right back, and they're going to be like, damn, we just cannot put these guys away. So I don't know. We'll see. Zach's predicting Arkansas. Sean and Mark, we're staying with our Texas Longhorns. That's going to be it for this edition of the Bullpen. We'll be back next Monday night, 8:30 p.m. Central Time. Y'all please join us. Thanks everybody that joined in the chat. Thanks everybody that watched tonight. Follow us on X for all the latest in Texas baseball. Subscribe, get notified to the YouTube channel, all that good stuff. Thanks, Zach. Thanks, Mark. Thanks again to everybody watching out there. I'm Sean Redfern. We will see you guys next week. Y'all get hooked. Get them up, Zach. Get them up. Thank you.
See y'all later.